Well, hello, Facebook. It is always such a pleasure for me in the course of my day to be able to push out live content to you, things that are happening as they're happening. So the only thing is, I've got one more microphone I got to turn on here for the podcast. Give me just a quick second, and we will jump in momentarily. Glad to have you with us today, Ryan. Are you in Chicago? You in Chicago, bud? Hey, Ryan, can you hear me? Hmm. It appears to me that Ryan has frozen. So I'm going to wait until I start recording here. But I think maybe he's back. You back, bud?
I believe so.
Yeah. So the one tip is, if you haven't shut down everything in the background, everything else on your computer except StreamYard, sometimes those resources fight for each other. So just anything else in the background that is not StreamYard, don't shut down your browser that has StreamYard, but any other browser, Windows, Outlook, anything like that, it can always be helpful.
Got it. Perfect. All right. Shutting everything down.
Yep. So as that's happening, I'm going to introduce you to folks, and then I'm going to let you do a more detailed introduction. But ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, this is Ryan Cotter with Movement Mortgage. He is in Chicago, or Chicagoland, and specifically where in Chicago?
Well, I mean, where I'm actually located is pretty much right downtown.
Yeah, nice. In the heart of it.
Right in the thick of it.
Sweet, man. Well, I got to tell you, my one and only memory of Chicago is 20 years ago. It was the only time I've been there, and we're walking down Michigan Avenue. Is that right?
Yep.
And all the stores, and just feeling very much like New York, and it's cold, and we're bundled up, and guys are selling bags of, what are the nuts, the warm nuts that they sell on the sidewalk?
Roasted nuts?
Roasted nuts, and guys playing saxophone on the corner. And so, that's my only memory, is that amazing fall weather, vibrant, feeling very energized. Man, that's your town inside out. That's the only experience I have, but it was a good one.
Yeah, it's a great town. I mean, I was born here, raised here. You're gonna have to carry me out in a box.
Nice.
I'm all in on Chicago.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. I love to hear that, and I love that about you. So here, Ryan and I meet in Nashville in an event that I was doing for his company a few weeks ago. And we're at this little club that they've got kind of cordoned off for us, so we can be distanced from the rest of the people, right, and protect us and from COVID and whatever else is out there. And Ryan orders a pizza, and so we start having a conversation about pizza, and he's like, "Yeah, it's okay. It's Nashville, for goodness sakes, you guys. The guys from Chicago." So anyway, all right, dude. So let's. I'm going to let this go where it needs to go, but I want people to know why we're talking. So there's a moment in time in this event where I bring up, and let me find I got it too. The rock here. Good man. Yep. Where I bring up the idea of the why, right? What is your why? Simon Sinek has sensationalized this with an amazing video and a great book on the topic, but we've all got to have something that drives us, right? And I think sometimes in the mortgage business in particular, it's easy to lose sight of that, because it's a series of deadlines. Like, as soon as you talk to somebody who thinks that they want to do a loan, it's like you light a fuse on a firecracker and put it on a conveyor belt, right? And it's moving down to a point on a purchase. It's much more important than it is on a refi, but still the borrower expects to close at a certain point, and something's going to happen. And so it's a stressful business. It's deadline driven. There can be a lot of kind of disconnect from the bigger picture. And yet, as we had this conversation, I forget who it was that kind of brought us together and said, "Oh, you need to hear this." It might have been Casey.
It was Casey.
Yeah, but it was like, man, you got to hear this story. So if I were going to do a really poor job of setting this up, it would be that you have landed on this idea of being able to help people in an area of your town that historically has not been big on home ownership, has not been particularly invested in pride of ownership, Quite the contrary, actually. And these are often high crime areas and areas with, I'm assuming, spray paint on buildings and whatever. And you've got a different view of that, right? So can you help people understand a little bit about what you're doing and what you see and what you're fired up about?
Yeah, I mean, like that, our conversation behind the why was like very easy for me. Like, you know, as we talked about it, you know, the city of Chicago, you know, if you turn on a TV, you know, or across the country, you know, has just got a bad reputation, right? Of
Sure.
like people, you know, being shot at, killed, children, all kinds of like negative stuff about it. And a few years ago, I was diving in deep on, you know, mentorship for at-risk youth, you know, in these various neighborhoods.
Yep.
And, you know, the pieces kind of just came together on like, oh, you know what, this, and it all kind of came together. So basically the long and short of it is, you know, educating the underserved markets on resources and tools that are currently available to them that has not been, you know, offered to them, or the educational piece about like these standard things that, you know, even, you know, other people may not really know very much about, but at least they get the, you know, the 10-second, hey, have you ever thought about buying a home and fixing it up and living in it? Right. You know, you know, they know that that's out there. The underserved communities don't get that even 10-second clip. Right. And so I've decided to dive in really deep in those underserved communities to educate them on, you know, creating a path to financial freedom, but by doing this, you know, improving those neighborhoods, improving the city of Chicago. I have 2 little boys, and people I was like, you know, why would you want to do what you're doing? I'm like, because I love the city. I see an opportunity to improve the city, not with outside money, but having people in the community stay in their communities, invest in their own communities, and change those communities.
So cool. So cool, man. So I want to take people back a little bit, and this is really just me innocently asking, and I may be completely wrong on that, but I'm sort of making a leap that when you said I had a mission I had an interest in serving underserved youth and working with them, I also know because somebody told me that you're a boxer. And I'm assuming maybe there's a connection point there because, you know, boxing is not lacrosse. It's not polo. So I'm assuming that maybe you were crossing paths with some people that maybe this opened up some opportunities and conversations. Is that true? Or is that not true?
Yeah, no, I mean, like retired boxer.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would do charity boxing events, and the charity boxing events would benefit places like Big Brothers Big Sisters, which is you know national, and now I talk to them. I throw these events all throughout the country, and they benefit Big Brothers Big Sisters, and then a locally known company or organization called Mercy Home for Boys and Girls, and so that was the kind of like. You know, I was just boxing just to stay in shape. But then when I heard their mission, you know, when you hear somebody's mission, it makes you like, you know, drive to get your own mission, right?
Sure.
What's gonna, you know, intersect passion and purpose in your life, you know, and what's gonna make you wake up in the morning, every morning, excited, like to get to work.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay, good. So then you found an intersection there between that conversation and what you were doing in mortgage lending. And now bring us to, so what does this look like? If you were going to try and explain this conversation, because I know that we actually, we went deep enough where we were having a conversation about the long-term impact that you think that this could have and where it really needs to begin. And I said to you, oh my goodness, like why haven't the local news affiliates picked up on this? And that's where we decided, well, heck, let's do what we can do. Let's get this recorded, and then you can push this out. But yeah, man, I mean, take me back to the fundamentals. Like you said, that kind of 10-minute overview, Ryan, that, you know, I think most people in America are like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I get that that's an option. But you're talking to people who they've just not had this conversation. This is not something that is part of the day-to-day, and maybe it wasn't something their parents did, and it's not coming up. So how do you do that? How do you start the conversation? How do you create the awareness, and what are the next steps?
So like it's what I tell people is like, hey, I came from a very, very blue collar background. When I went to when I went to college, I was the first one in my family to do so. They were all like carpenters, electricians, and plumbers, and their main comment to me was like, "Why are you going to go to college? You could be like an electrician. Start as an apprentice. Make $20 an hour, and then you become a full journeyman and making $40 an hour." And so I knew like I had a background, and I wanted to go to college to learn more about finance because I knew I wanted to own real estate. I just was one of those kids. It's funny, like most kids wake up and on the weekends they turn on cartoons. I used to turn on This Old House. And I love Bob Vila, right?
That's hysterical. Yeah.
And so like it was a kind of a very, very intentional why I went to college, not for like just all the partying and having fun and stuff like that.
Right. You actually had a purpose.
I had a purpose. I was going to go learn finance. I was going to network, right? And I was going to as soon as I got out of college, I wanted to buy buildings, right? So that's what I did. 1 year out of college, I bought my first building. Then I bought a building down the street right after that, and then I bought the building right behind me. And then fast forward, I've done hundreds of projects, hundreds of units. I like it. I like seeing something transform, right?
Nice.
From whatever shape it is into something brand new, right?
Yeah.
And so now, like I'm educating people on that where I didn't. I told you this, pretty blatantly that I was selfish for a long time. I didn't want to tell people like my house hacking tricks because I was worried about them stealing it and using it and potentially taking a property that I might wanted. Right? Yep. It was the birth of my first son that kind of like like I have a bigger mission, and that's when it kind of all came together. Like what people in the underserved communities don't know about these tools that are available to every person, every individual.
Right.
All you need is a job, decent credit score, and a little bit of money. Right. Yep. So it's not like one of those infomercials like we're going to make you a millionaire. We're going to borrow money from this guy, and you're going to you're going to wholesale deals. You don't have to do that. There's a really simple path. But you got to make those three little pieces come together, which is have a job, have a little bit of money for saving up for your down payment, and have decent credit. Have those threes. I can show you how I did it. Nice. And it's a really simple path to buying income producing properties where you will live in one of the units. And you start out with you live in like as a 4-flat as an example. You buy a 4-flat. You live in one unit, you rent out the other three cover the mortgage. So you've eliminated the largest expense that you're ever going to have, your housing expense. Yep. Right. And then you buy another one, right? Maybe you don't. Maybe you just buy that one, right? Because it's not for everybody. But you buy one, you've changed the trajectory of your life. I mean, in terms of financial, freedom and pathways.
Yeah, man.
I'll use an example of like, and I noticed this because I told you, like when I went to college, I was very, very, intentional on what I was doing. What I noticed was that there were kids in college whose parents were like first generation immigrants. They came over, they bought some real estate, bought some properties, and, the kids saw what their parents did. And I would say like there are certain kids that come out of the womb born into business and they get things quicker. So like these kids at, in my college, I noticed they picked up accounting faster. They picked up marketing faster. They picked up, every other piece that, that I was, learning and doing, they were picking it up because they were born into business. Right. And what ended up happening, like, that kid college was paid by that, first generation immigrant that bought property. Right. So that those buildings paid for their education. And then what did the kid get when he graduated? He got a building. Right. Instead of on a completely different path. And now I'm buying, my mindset is buy real estate for my sons. I may offend some people with this next phrase, Bill, so I apologize. But I think kids today are kind of soft, and the work ethic
says the retired boxer who owns real estate. Yeah. Fair enough.
But like, when they're growing up and you have them, give them something to kind of look towards, like again, buying buildings for my kids, and they're always on construction sites. These kids have been, my kids have been on the construction sites since they come out of womb. Right. And I see lots of ancillary benefits for that. Now, where I transition this is on into the neighborhoods where, you don't have this being done, like South and West Side, right? People in the neighborhoods, there's an opportunity to buy a building on your block, fix it up, live in one, rent out the other three, and you not have a mortgage payment, right? Because the rental income's covering it, right? That is a life-changing event, right? Because of the basically push into, you've just basically started your own business.
Totally. Okay, so look, you're completely sold on this. You've lived this. This is something that is 100% doable to you. But I want you to speak to the skeptics, maybe the guy that you just described, or the young woman that their trajectory is the trades, and that's what they would logically move into. And you're describing something that you make sound very easy, but they're like, yeah, I don't know, man, I don't see it. So those 3 steps again. Okay, so I've got a job, right? I've got income. I'm driving a UPS truck. I'm working over here. I'm in retail, God forbid, but I'm doing something, right, to generate income. Number 2 is I need a down payment. So as well as I do, most of America thinks that means 20% down. Right. Tell people about what they might require for a property in your town. Typical property. What did you call it? A 4 flat? Is that what it's called?
4 units. 4 flat.
4 units. Yep. Okay. So talk to point number 2, down payment.
Okay. So I usually start off, like when I do like presentations on this and educate people, I start off with like, I want to educate you on low down payment, programs to purchase income producing properties.
Nice.
First piece there, low down payment, because like you said, most people, like even if they're buying a condo or a single family, they think like, I got to put 20% down. I'm like, no, like, there's programs to put as little as 3.5% down, on this, whatever it is that you're looking to buy. On top of it, now, what if I told you like that, there's that same product for that 3 flat or 4 flat. Okay. Yep. And I'm going to throw some icing on the cake. What if I told you that, not only would we be able to give you the money to buy the place, we'll also give you money to fix it up. And all you need to come in with is 3.5%. People are like, no way. I'm like, yeah, it's this crazy thing called FHA, right? Yep. Google it, right? FHA 203K. Now you use it on a multifamily where you find something that is not in great shape, and you improve that little part of the world. I always say, like, every little piece that we help somebody close on and improve, we improve that little part of the world.
Love that, man. Love that.
That's it. Like, you don't need that much money. When I educate people on how little they need to get into one of these properties with, they're like, no way. When can I buy my next one?
So I'll bet. So in your town, 3 or 4 units, give me a price range. What roughly would we be looking at?
It's a big area, so that, it can range from, you can find stuff, from a couple $100,000 to, like, the sky's the limit. But that's where I want to be spending most of my time, in those, the $300,000-$400,000 price ranges in multifamilies on the South and West sides, because we want those people of those communities buying their buildings in their community, staying in the building. If you live in the building, right, you're going to definitely get the best tenants that you possibly can.
Totally.
Right? And you're going to want them to take care of that property just as well as you do. Right. Yep. So you've just created a mini community, right, on that property, that they're all looking out for the best interest of, that little piece of the world.
It's so logical, Ryan. It's so logical. Yeah. Why isn't anybody doing this? It's that's the thing. Like, when I go and I do these presentations, and what I'm trying to do now is like, a lot of organizations will have home buyer classes, like, which is, like, oh, you got to buy your home, right? And that's one of the things I like mainly stress is like, hey, before you do that, let's talk, because if you understand finance, like, the where the money comes from, like, we talked about this. There's this thing called an underwriter, right? This guy or girl behind a curtain that you have to convince on all these different pieces, right? And then you get the money, right? Yep. An underwriter, will believe that you're buying a 4 flat and living in that 4 flat, which is another key component, right? You gotta live there, right, to get it in with a low down payment. If you don't own anything else, right?
if you own a condo or a single family, no matter how much it makes economic sense
Yeah.
that you are going to move into this 4 flat, because it does, it just makes economic sense.
Sure.
They don't believe it because people just don't do that. But they would buy a 4 flat, right? Live in it, and then they buy a 3 flat. And that mentality to an underwriter works because they would move down from a 4 flat to a 3 flat. And
right.
I've kind of put together, like we talked about it, my 4, 3, 2, 1 steps to financial freedom.
Yep.
Which is you buy a 4 flat first, then you buy a 3 flat, then you buy a 2 flat, and then you buy that single family after you've acquired income producing properties, right? To offset all the liabilities. At that point in time, you have 4 assets that are being paid for by your tenants. Right, you've just created a little mini portfolio,
totally.
or major portfolio, depending on your perspective.
For sure,
that's going to pay for your kids' college. You're going to create
you're
going to create multi-generational wealth,
right.
Not just generational wealth, multi-generational. Because if you do it right, you're going to pay off those properties in 15 to 20 years. And the mythical image of the cash cow, right?
Yep,
you have it.
You do have it. You do have, and right now, I mean, at the time that we're recording this, we have unbelievably low interest rates. Like, did you ever expect to see rates this low?
No, and that's what I tell people like this is no better opportunity, because I say prices and interest rates usually have an inverse relationship, right? So like when rates are high, prices are low. And then it kind of switches. So they're like, well, I'm waiting for that bubble, right? Like, no. Your purpose is to buy properties throughout time. So you dollar cost average them, right? So if I buy one when, rates are high and, prices are low, when they switch, I get to refinance it. And so I get to move down to that lower interest rate. But when the prices are high and interest rates are low, I'm still putting that on a 30-year fixed mortgage. So I'm setting it and forgetting it.
Absolutely.
Right? So you don't try to time a market. There's not like some magical recipe of this.
Sure.
It's like it's paying this thing off over time. Right. Yep. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's get wealthy over time. Right. It's just
so good,
it's very plain.
So good. So Ryan, I love everything about this. I mean, I love everything. I love your 4-3-2-1. I love that you said you're the only other guy I've ever heard use this sentence. I use it a lot. It changed the trajectory of your life, or in this case, this could change the trajectory of someone's life. You guys, viewers, listeners, here's what we know for sure. What are people raised with? They're raised with the idea that you're going to go to college, you're going to get a job, or go into the trades, as we talked about. You're going to rent. In some cases, you're going to rent furniture and lease a car. Like all the wrong ideas, right? All of you're putting money out on depreciating assets. It's a really bad idea. And worse if you don't own it, right? If you're just renting it, you're just throwing money away. You're paying for somebody else's, mortgages, right? So what Ryan is saying is, well, wait a minute. There's actually another way, particularly in your market. This works really well in Chicago. I mean, we could argue that this would work in other areas. And as you know, there have been a lot of people that were doing this around colleges, right? This can be a great thing around colleges when college was in session. It's a bit of a different situation right now, right? So anyway, in your town right now, this is an opportunity where it's completely counterintuitive, but you're talking to them about 3.5% down payments on, you've already mentioned the price range of what these properties might look like. They've immediately got income, particularly with low interest rates like we're in right now. They could have no housing expense with an appreciating asset, which then moves them to point number 3, point number 2, and finally point number 1. And now they're in a position that most people in America never get to. There's never any passive income, and there's never any appreciating asset, of which there is no better one, other than maybe Rolex watches these days. That might be another one, than real estate. Yep. Dude, this plan, it deserves to be screamed from the mountaintops. So now I want to speak to those people. If you're watching this right now and you know somebody who runs a news organization, if you know somebody with a huge following on social, take this, share it, send it to somebody. This needs to be out in markets all across the country right now. People need to know. Ryan, right now more than ever, people's foundations are being shaken. The thing that they grew up with is different now all of a sudden. I mentioned retail, but think about the airlines and servers in restaurants, and oh my goodness, right? How many people have been shaken to their core? What you're describing right now could absolutely change the trajectory of someone's life, but they need to take action on it. So if you know somebody that needs to hear this story, share it with them. Don't just consume it and say, yeah, that was really good. That was interesting. Like, you now have a responsibility with this. Share it, send it, post it, get it in front of somebody. Ryan, I love your heart. I love what you're doing. What would you ask people to do right now? How can they best engage with you, support you, replicate this in their own city? What's your call to action, man?
Yeah, I mean, take it. Plagiarize it.
Right.
I just get it out. But in the underserved communities, right? And we've talked about this, separately. We need those, people of those communities to get this information, because they're not getting it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Once they get it, right? Take action. Take action. Start looking at, like, hey, I live on this block and that building's run down. I should probably see who owns it. Maybe I'll get that FHA 203K loan.
There you go.
That guy I was talking about, and maybe do like just a little bit more research. And I'm going to prove that. I'm going to prove this block by buying that house over there, or that building over there, and renting it out. I have
my little corner of the world, right?
And I have like in find your why. Mine is to create like economic engines throughout the city, and we've talked about this. Like, when you're doing that, when you're improving that building on your block, you're going to need skilled labor, right?
For sure.
And that's I'm actively trying to engage with electrical brotherhood unions, carpenters unions,
nice.
Masonry unions. Also, my ask would be like, hey, if you know people in those unions that you could connect me with, that would be great. Because what I'm trying to do is put together basically an apprenticeship program geared towards those underserved communities.
So good.
Right? So that those people, those disenfranchised children of those neighborhoods that don't see very many success stories, right? That could see a building being renovated, and and then it triggers something like, I don't want to go to college. What am I going to do?
Right.
There's other opportunity. There's trades. Like, if you understood like what a union plumber made in the city of Chicago, you wouldn't want to go to college. You wouldn't want to go to college, right? And you can start that right away. Like, they start at 17, 18 years old, and they make great money. Now you're also learning a skill that you can employ on one of those projects yourself. So creating like an economic engine where not only the areas get improved by the people within their community, but it also creates jobs. And when you create jobs, you create other opportunities for, like we said, retail. So it's take this idea, craft it, steal it, use it in your market, and go towards the underserved communities where there's the at-risk youth of the world. I mean, that's our thing, like mentorship, right? Show people wins. And if you show them wins, then they can imagine like a better life. I just don't think there's enough people helping out in those communities to help those people imagine a better life. And so that's what it is.
I don't know why you're not the mayor of Chicago. I don't know why you're not the governor of Illinois.
I don't want that.
And right about now, I'm not so sure why you're not the president of the United States. Like, come on, man. This is the stuff that matters. This is the stuff that makes a difference. And Ryan, the awesome thing about this is what people don't know if they're not in this business is you could easily have stayed on the other side of the desk with this and just said, I don't need to share this. Like, somebody else is going to buy a building I could have bought, and I want it all, right? And I'm going to put my fingertips together, and I'm going to just pull all the chips over to my side of the Monopoly table. But at some point, you made a decision and said, nope, I know something. This is something that can share other people. I have a responsibility to share this. I want to do more with it. I love your heart. I love that you have a sense of wanting to share, to have an impact. Dude, may this be the beginning of this message being bigger, getting out to more people, sharing it, hearing it, doing something with it. Let's make something happen. And Ryan, I just think you're a stud. You're a gentleman. And because you're a boxer, you can probably kick my ass. So I'm going to be really careful next time I'm with you. Or at least run faster than you. Maybe that's all I have to do. I just have to outrun you. But dude, I'm I'm just fired up for you. My heart rate goes up as I hear you talk, and I think that you're having that impact on everybody. So thanks for making the time today. What's the best way for people to find you?
Ryan.Cotter@movement.com is the easiest way. I'm going to give a big shout out to, Movement Mortgage, the company that kind of, introduced us.
Yep.
But their impact, like it's being around the movement people that kind of like, it makes you want to get a mission. What makes you want to change your community, right? So
that's who you guys are. Yep.
It's I mean, a company, a large company with a moral compass. It's like, and when I tell people about that, because I'm from Chicago, we're all skeptics, right? 100%. Right. We don't believe anything. It's no phrase like, believe 50% of what you read and nothing of what you hear.
Exactly.
So like, look at Movement. I mean, talk about a great company.
It is a great
Casey Crawford. Awesome,
amazing leader,
amazing leader, and there's not enough of that guy.
Agreed. All right, buddy. Thanks for being with us today. Appreciate it so much, Ryan. Best of luck in all you do. You let me know what I can do to help move them forward.
You got it.
Okay, buddy. Take care, man. Nice. Nice. All right, buddy. You still there?